Today. Hey guys, it's Ted Boger, TGIF. Welcome back to the TED Show. Very excited to have a returning guest and a new guest with Safr, S-A-F-R, GoSafr.com. You guys look it up while we're sitting here and chatting. We have Syed Gilani on the show and Kelly Revis, both from Safr, and we're going to talk about what Safr is. We're going to talk about their global vision for women's empowerment and so much more. So thank you guys for being on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Ted, for having us.
So thank you. I mean, I love when you guys come on because I love what you do, and I think that this company is amazing. So big kudos to both of you. But a lot of people may not know if they didn't tune in the last time Syed was on the show. So I'm going to let Syed introduce himself and then introduce Kelly for us.
Thank you, Ted, for having us back again on your show. Heard so many great things, and thank you for having us before. My name is Syed Gilani, and I'm the CEO of Safr. We are a rideshare or transportation platform company focused on women empowerment through safe transportation in a very simple way. So with me today, I have our most talented team member, Kelly Revis. She's our director of new markets. So Kelly, please feel free to add more to that.
Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Kelly Revis, and like Syed said, I'm the director of new markets. And just a little bit about my background. I come from a very business-oriented family background and did some buying and selling of businesses in my past, then ended up teaching entrepreneurship. And I heard about Safr through some mutual connections, and I'm so passionate about it. I'm especially passionate about helping women, encouraging women, like in the domestic violence space. And so when I heard about Safr's mission to empower women, I had to jump on board. I not only invested myself, but I came onto the executive team, and I'm just so thrilled to be here.
Tell people, Kelly, what Safr is about, because obviously I did some promos and people can look it up while they're watching, but give us the 411 on what Safr is and how it's different than the other rideshare companies.
Okay, sure. Well, the current rideshare companies, mainstream ones, focus on chasing investors and elevating their financial valuation, and there's no focus on the safety of the customer. And we focus on not only the safety, but empowering women. And we do that through safety and rideshare. And what makes us different are a few factors that I'd love to share with you. One thing is that we vet all of our drivers, and that includes an extensive background check, the most thorough out there. We do personal interviews of our drivers. We meet them, we get to know them, we see them. And then we also inspect their vehicles, and we do all these things before we let a single driver get out on the road, which I'm pretty sure nobody else does. So we also have distinguishing features in our app that are disrupting the industry. And one of them is called gender preference. So for example, if a female driver wants to earn some extra income by working late nights on the weekends, but she doesn't feel comfortable picking up a male driver after 11 p.m. at a bar, she can go into the app and do gender preference female only, and she'll be connected with only a female rider. Another feature we have is called color match, and that gives the rider and the driver different colors that they have to match when the ride is accepted. So that way the rider doesn't get into the wrong car and the driver doesn't pick up the wrong person. And then the final one I really want to mention, it's my favorite, it's called trusted driver. So when a ride is complete and you rate our driver, let's say you love her, you give her 5 stars, you want that option to ride with her again. No one else gives that option. We do. It's called trusted driver. So the next time you request a ride, that ride request will direct straightly to that trusted driver first before it goes to all other random drivers. So this helps build the customer base, it creates safety, and it helps our female drivers increase their financial security, further empowering women.
I have so many questions. First of all, that third one you just mentioned,
Yes.
is brilliant. It's my pet peeve with other rideshare. If I find someone that I like, that I know works my area, that I'm comfortable with, not being able to request them specifically again, understanding that they may not be every single time, but having the ability to request them, it always was so frustrating. And especially when you're talking about empowering women and women's safety, if they find someone they really like, of course they're going to want to ride with them again. I think that's so smart. And I think that a lot of women, I remember when I would send, my daughters would take Ubers. I'm not allowed to say that. I'm going to say it anyway. Another rideshare company. Um, I would be so worried if they weren't with another person. I'd be afraid if they weren't doing it in teams, because you don't know and you can't choose. And if it's 11 o'clock at night and you're a young girl and you get into a car that you don't feel comfortable with, I think that happens a lot. And that's what unfortunately drives people away. And then they get behind the wheel. I mean, there's all sorts of ramifications of not allowing them to feel safe and focusing on the safety. So, where did the idea come from, Syed? Tell me, because I want to know the brainchild. And did you just all of a sudden say, all right, I want to make rides safer for women all over the world?
Well, that's a great question. So, thank you, Kelly, for so eloquently explaining some distinguishing factors of Safer. The idea came about when we looked at the other rideshare companies, and we saw that, like Kelly mentioned, that their focus wasn't on the women's safety or women participation, the equal participation of women or all other genders, or any other minority in those platforms were marginal. When we look at women participation with other rideshare, it's around 14 to 20, 25% of women actually drive for them, and they don't drive after sunset because of the safety reasons, the same concerns you just mentioned. So we realized there's a market over there, and then we wanted to see that if the riders would prefer something like that. And when we did our test launch a couple of years back to test the market, we found out that riders were willing to wait for us. They were willing to pay more. They were willing to take it because there is a serious concern. We were hearing news and other from other news outlets information that with other bigger rideshare companies, there was sexual assault and harassment cases going on almost every other day. They reported around 6,000 of them a year, but to our report was 1,500 a day or something like that. So it was one way too many. Actually, the UN Women did a survey in South Asia, and they found out 9 out of 10 women were sexually assaulted or harassed by larger uh, rideshare drivers. So we saw that there is a real market, not only in the United States, but across the world, and people are willing to accept a company that focuses on the mission of empowerment. And when you look at the women, the gender of women side of it as well, 58% of the world's population only owns 2% of the global wealth. Unfortunately, we are in 21st century and we're still talking about that. Uh, and we look at that women make less than men and they spend more than men on transportation. Uh, because of the safety reason. We wanted to create a platform that's not only a ride share platform, but also an empowerment platform and allows us to create some earning uh, avenues for women as drivers and riders who are, or women riders who want to work late at night or enjoy their life, social life, or economic life the way they want to. They shouldn't be able to think twice how they're going to get home safely. So we
Yes.
want to create a very serious platform about that. So
I,
that's the safer.
I have two thoughts. First of all, the choice part again, I have to go back to that. I've said if I could choose, I would pay more money and wait longer. And so I occasionally choose that with other ride shares as you begin to bump up the levels. So there's a little bit of choice there. But I would 100% choose to pay a little more or even a lot more, depending on the situation, if it was a ride that I was comfortable with and somebody I knew. And I just love the fact that you guys have created choices for people and women in particular. And I want to talk a little bit about what Kelly said with domestic violence awareness. Talk about that, because I think that there's so many women out there that if they were aware of the option, it would help them get out. They could do it and get out. A lot of them don't have their own transportation. So they're stuck in a house, especially if they're domestic violence victims. And so to have the ability to get a ride that they feel safe in is just huge.
Yeah, so yeah, that reminds me of something we're doing. We help domestic violence shelters in places like the Mustard Seed, which is a place that helps women who need to get back on their feet. They've gone through downtimes for whatever reason, and they don't have transportation, and they need the Mustard Seed provides clothing and furniture lightly used and helps them get into a new home or whatever. But right now, we're donating those rides because we feel like we need to give back however we can, and that's what we're doing. But unfortunately, like Syed was mentioning, the mainstream rideshare companies have grossly underreported their harassment cases, their assault cases, and even worse. And it just makes women afraid to ride because 98% of all assaults are committed by men. There's a magazine, Medium magazine, that reports that the major two rideshare companies have a significant percentage of sexual predators working for them, which makes rideshare one of the most dangerous industries in modern day America, especially for women. So this is what we want to change at Safr. This is our mission.
What I also love is the fact that you have targeted it and recognized and are addressing the concerns that I think everybody has said or thought, but you all are actually doing something about it. You've implemented programs and options and safety precautions. The fact that you vet your drivers the way that you do is amazing to me, because sometimes I get in a car and I'm like, is this really where I'm supposed to be? As a dude, it's still a little scary. I can't imagine as a woman getting in and thinking that. And a lot of times, like you said, if we're at a bar and we've had a cocktail or two, we're not also thinking as clearly as we normally would. And so there's a lot of things that go into that. And the fact that you are vetting them and really creating that safety net up front is, just huge kudos. Why global? You have a global mission. So how does that work? Is Safr in a lot of other countries? Is that the plan? And then why are you making it a bigger than just the U.S. Mission?
That's a $1 billion question, not just $1 million. When you look at that's a great. Let's look at the situation even now. Before I answer your question, and I want to piggyback on what Kelly said. During COVID-19, from August to September, 869,000 women were unemployed as compared to 216,000 men. Men are getting back on the job faster than women. Women have to make a decision on top of domestic violence, which Kelly mentioned, that went up to 300% during coronavirus. Unfortunately, women have to now make a decision how they can get back to job when the kids can't go to school because many schools are doing remote learning. So there is a biggest challenge right now with the heaviest load women are bearing in this current crisis of COVID-19. And we were discussing that early on about COVID-19 and situation in Orlando and other places. Now, let's take it to the international level. Internationally, I'm from South Asia, so we know that, and I've traveled across Middle East and that part of the world. So I know for as a fact that in an average household, if you have a car, it's only one car or one transportation that normally the male figure takes out and comes back after the day. And now you're at the whim of that person's mood to take you around or to do some work because there is no public transportation to begin with. So the lack of mobility is the biggest challenge in those countries. Either it's infrastructure because of infrastructure, or culturally, or religiously, or for whatever reason. If you look at just simply South Asia, around 930 million women live in South Asia between 3 or 4 countries, and around 300 million women actually go to work or school on daily basis. No transportation, mind you. So it's very difficult. So we see that there is a great opportunity for a company like Safr to make a difference in the lives of the women in those parts of the world where the mobility of one gender, which is a majority gender in those countries, is restricted because of the lack of transportation. And this is part of basic human rights also, frankly. Under the UN Human Rights Charter, the freedom of mobility within the geographical boundaries is one of the basic rights of every human. And if that right is taken away from you because of the safety reason, because other gender decides that I don't want to be fair to the majority gender, then that creates a very biased, both economic and social atmosphere for everyone, and that creates a problem bigger than everybody on this call or listening on this call. So our goal was that, okay, if we are answering to the call of providing a safe transportation, how far can we go? Can we, is it only for the US or Western society, or should we go to South America, or should we go to Middle East, should we go to Africa, should we go to Asia? And our answer to that is yes. We've been getting license requests from all over the world, all over the country, and we want to make sure that either through partnerships or directly moving into those countries, we provide a platform, because by the end of the day, we feel like if we can empower women where they can earn some money, or they can go to the job safely, and their families don't have to be worried about that, and they can bring bread and butter to the table, we are empowering families. There are organizations like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, other foundations, they're working very heavily in empowering families. But they are empowering families by giving them like chickens or eggs or cows or whatnot to empower them that way. Our mission is that how can we empower them so they can move freely? If they can move freely, they can move their products freely. And if they can do that, and if they bring bread and butter to the table, then they are empowering their families. The next generation would be much more educated, much more empowered. And that's how we can change the GDPs potentially of certain countries. So we are very excited about our mission, and we are really looking forward to see, how we can make the difference in this world.
So people are asking as we start to wrap up, are you in every state? Tell us where people can, where are we? They want to know how they can get involved. We'll just wrap it up with that. They want to know where you're at, and if they want to become a driver or they want to learn more, what's the best way? Can you give them a little bit of geography and what the status is on that?
So let me tell you where we are, and then Kelly can explain to you how they can get in touch with us, because she's in charge of that.
Perfect. Perfect.
So we have started operating in Central Florida, your neck of the wood. Then COVID hit, so we had to stop some of the operations over there. We are testing our operations in the Dallas region as well, and Indiana. We are opening up in medical transportation as well very soon. Uh, and we have a license request from, I guess, around 50 states, 30 states across the US, and around 500 license requests from those locations. So we will be opening as market starts opening, and I hope this COVID thing goes away. We will be opening at much faster pace. Now, how to get engaged with us, how to reach out to us, Kelly can explain that to
Take
you.
it away, Kelly.
All right, yeah, and I just wanted to expand on that a little bit. Also, during COVID, we've done some pivoting, and we also have a delivery
Yes.
vertical now too. So curbside, and we have in our app where we can run errands for you. We're not just go pick up my food. We can do your routine, your CVS, your Home Depot, whatever you need. So just wanted to throw that in there. But it's really easy to use Safr. If you want to be a rider, the app is in the App Store at ridesafer. And it's SAFR, Ride Safer. And then if you want to be a driver, you can sign up in the App Store at Drive Safer, SAFR. We're also available for download in Google Play. And we can get a lot of information on our website, www.gosafr.com.
Fantastic. I am so excited about what you all are doing, and I want you to come back anytime as we update and have things going on, because I know that this is something people are interested in. The errand service is very interesting. I'm used to, since I know you're in Dallas, they have Favor out there. Is in a kind of a thing like that, and we don't have anything like that in Florida. So I'm excited that you guys have that option. I just love what you're doing, and I love your mission. That is why I love Ghosts. I love Safr, because your mission, it's all about the people, and it's not about the dollar. And I just think that huge kudos to you guys for doing that. All right, Syed Gilani, Kelly Revis with Safr, SAFR, GoSafr.com. You guys reach out if you're interested in being a driver or learning more about it. You can download the app, go to their website, reach out to one of us. I've tagged both of them in this. Thank you guys for being on the show. It's amazing.
Thank you, Ted. We love
so
you.
much for having
Love you guys so much. Have a good
Take
one.
care.
We'll be
Have
back.
a good weekend.